Hello, this is part 2 of CSCI 380 web programming and interface. And we just extend, so I will introduce something more related to the JavaScript like ES6. Okay, so will be latest update 2021 to like 2024. Actually, when you're learning different type of programming language, they do some update, change in the features. Okay, so you need to like really stay on the community, and maybe sometimes when you're using certain programming language, you have to really follow, okay, the trend. Okay, sometimes we'll switch. Okay, maybe nowadays we are popular using React.js, AngularJS, but maybe after the AI or machine learning or like later quantum computer introduced, maybe the programming language or how we develop the website. Okay, will be a totally different game. Okay, so another story. So just letting you know. So for today we'll cover some like new feature, including the array. Okay, how can we declare it, and then some like loops, how can we control it, or the regular expression we'll use. Okay, and later like what is the ES6 and beyond, they try to improve the performance. So they're using the V8 engine. Okay, and other some like JavaScript engines have optimized the features like for the async or the await function for concurrence. And here's the key concept, because we didn't really dive really in, okay, about the programming language or even the HTML structure. Okay, all these, like, unlikely we don't have that much time like in one semester to cover so many things. So I'm sorry about that, but if you're really interested, so I will recommend you like maybe study more, or like sometimes you have to like go to maybe W3 school or using AI, whatever. Okay, so it can help you to learn more. Okay, and then next, like it can provide a clean syntax, so it can reduce some like boilerplate like code. So with some like arrow function, if you remember the arrow function destructuring, okay, and then spread rest operators, all this. And then we move on, like we talk about the array. Okay, so it's the order of collection, okay, of some values. So any data types we can mix. I'm using any data type compared with the like Java or C purpose. Okay, you have to define the data type, but for JavaScript, or we say the Node.js, is pretty similar to Python. You don't have to really declare, okay, actually work out data type. So you can use let and const. So the JS will determine based on the data assigned. Okay, and then it can like grow or shrink in the size. So this the special dynamically like working in the array. And then we do have some like common operations that including adding and remove elements, sorting, filtering, and iterating. So all these can be the features. Okay, as a basic, you can look at the example. Let's say with the basic declaration, if you have to declare array, so you can use the let function. Okay, then you ask like why we don't like use a const. Okay, if you are not going to change any content, then you can use the const. Okay, let's say the month. Okay, from January to December. So you won't add another month, right? So it's impossible. So you can use const. But if for some dynamic array, you're going to increase the size, like adding some stuff or removing stuff, please using let. Okay, so this one's more important, you need to know. So it's the array of string. So you see we're using the quotation to define for the string type. Okay, and then if you want to declare some empty array, you can just let and then equals to square bracket right here. So you can declare the empty array, or you can use the array of it. So we can use it. So it's a ES6, or we can use the array from. Okay, so to create array from the interval like or array like object. So especially the one like string. Okay, so for string, if we have a string, then we can get the array from. Okay, so we pass the string, so we can get the array of the char like this. Okay, so here's the idea. And also we have another functions called array of. So for declaring, so if you want to declare, you can passing it with the the parameter or the value. So also you can form the array. Okay, it's the number array. Okay, integer array. So you can use. So we have the from of. Okay, and then also we can convert it like something like the interval string or array like object as well. Say so right here. So pretty similar, and then extend on the ES6 plus, we do have the push and pop. Okay, we use a lot. Okay, if you want to add a value to our array, so we can decay it using let. It's important. Okay, if you got some error why you couldn't push it, so you have to check, are you using const or let? Okay, so we are using let if we need to like adding values, okay, or remove it. So we can use push, so it will add to like append to the array. Okay, so it will add to the last item element. Okay, and if using pop, it will going to remove the last elements of an array. Okay, so you can pop, so it push remove the last one. And if you, let's say if you want to remove the first element from an array, so you can use the function shift. Okay, so you can pass the array dot shift and then pass it, so you do not need to pass any parameter, so you will be able to obtain the first item. Then if you're asking if I want to keep that value, okay, keep the first element, so you can use like the declare, like using let or const equals to array dot shift. Okay, so you can keep this item. Sometimes when we using array to simulate or like to acting as a cube, like if you remember, like first in or first out, like this, then we can use a shift or like using unshift to add it or one or more element to the beginning. So if you want to append or adding elements, so you can use unshift, then you can add it to the beginning of in the array. Okay, and if you want to merge two or more arrays, so if you want to merge them together, so you can use concat function. So this method is like in the like ES6. So you need to be careful if you install, let's say Node.js, you have to check the version. So I just assume of you like install the latest version, then you can use all this method. Okay. For some old version, then you cannot use it. Okay. So you can use the concat, and then if you want to getting a small copy or like getting portion or parts of it of array, you can use the slice, and then you can pass what's the index. Okay, so from the index, start from 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and when you're passing like the first one, so we start from 1. Okay, and then 2, 3. So why is getting the only 2 and 3? Because we are not include, so the index of 3 will be excluded. So actually it's like 1, 2, and that's it. Okay, so you need to be careful. And also, if we want to like add or remove the item from the array at a specific index, also you can use the spice right here. Okay, so you can start from 1, 2, and then maybe AB like this. So you can start from maybe 1, index 1 and 2, and then replace it by 1 AB. So you can do it in this way. So and then we remove it and then add it. So you can use this method. Okay, and we have more, like we can have a map function. Okay, so we use a lot. Even in the example, like maybe some code, like when we implementing the website using React.js, we use the map function to create the list. So right here, if we have the num, okay, sometimes you see we're using constant right here. Maybe we're not like, maybe if you have a portal list, okay, you have a portal list and then return from the API server, and then we will store it right here as a constant because we want to modify unless you want to add it, right? And then we use the map function and then passing here, the first part is the parameter and it's a value, so it will iterate first one, second one, and third one. Okay, and the value will times by 2, and then we return it. So it's a double array over here. So we will store it. Okay, so it will be 2, 4, 6. So here's the function, map function. Also, we have filter function, so it can create a new array. So for those element past the test implement, so we have the testing implement condition right here. So if we have the numbers 1 to 5, and if we're using the filter function, and then we just like passing, here's the parameter, so will be the iterate all the numbers 1 by 1, and if they are modules by 2 is equal to 0, that means they're even number. We're checking for the even number. So the first one, okay, it doesn't equal to 2, then we go to the next one. If yes, then we keep it as array. So here's the filter function. Also, we can use the reduce. Okay, reduce is like we need to have an accumulator. Okay, so the first parameter is accumulator, and then second order element. So we'll reduce to single value. So you can try to like accumulator. We can by default is 0, so we can see the past the parameter. So it's the initial value of the accumulator, and then it can pass the value. Okay, number. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So in the beginning 0 plus 1, and then 1 plus 2. Okay, so with 3, and then 3 plus 3 will be 6. So here's the reduce function. If you want to find something like match your condition, like satisfy like your testing condition, then you can use the find. Okay, and then for the number, if you want to check, okay, it's greater than 8, then you're able to get a find, then you will find it like 10. Okay. So, but this one we only return, be careful, it's just like return the first element. Okay, and also if you want to get the index, you can use a find index. So it's return the index of first element, and also includes if you want to like check if the array contains some specific element. So you can use the nums that includes, so you can pass the value. So sometimes if you just want to check, okay, does it exist in your array? Okay, does it contain? Then you can use the includes this function. And also you can use the pretty common, like we're using the index of, okay, to get the first occurrence, okay, of the specific element. So you want to see, okay, do you have the number 2? Okay, in this, if yes, then it will return the index. If no, it will return a negative one. So it's pretty useful if you want to find the character, okay. And then when you can use a sorting function, okay. So by default, actually they are sorting by the string, okay. So if you return it, like let's say you have a number, you sort it like this, like 3, 5, 10, right? If you have the maybe other numbers, you will see it's not really sorting in a correct order, because like for sorting a number, you have to pass a function. So what's the differences between sorting a string and numbers? You have to pass a function is like AB, so they will take the AB to position and minus A minus B, so they will sorting in ascending order, okay. And if you want to sort it in a descending order, you just like reverse like B minus A, then you can get a descending order. Okay, so here's the if I recommend you like try to use it for the string. So you see the example stuff from like A, B, C, okay, in this order. And for some like intuition, because we have the structure array, then how can we go through one item like each of the element? So you can use that for each. Okay, so you can like log the numbers. Okay, like this one, like we passing on the number log, so we will receive like 1, 2, 3 like this. Or you can using the for of, so it will iterate over the values, okay, of the iterable object. So we say like 1, 2, 3. So right here we need to create for and then for of loop. So when we create like constant, you can use constant or let if you need to modify or change the value. So remember, just be careful. For this one, we are just logging the numbers, so you can use const. Okay, if you need to iterate it and alter the value, then be careful, please use let. Okay, so of the array name, so we can log it. Okay, and then we have another is like for in loop. For in is like over the key, that means the index. Okay, of the array. So when you letting an index, so you passing index 0, 1, 2. Okay, so be careful like for in loop and for off loop. Okay, so it depends on the situation and condition you want to use this type of loop. Okay, and also we have some like into a method, but of course we have some like basic loops. Okay, so we can define like for and then let value if you're learning in other programming language. So we need to declare the value like let, okay, I equals to 0 and then I less than 5 and then I purpose, then you can log the values of stuff from like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a really basic one, or like you can use it for the while loop. Okay, it's like when you learn other programming language, it's a really like basic fundamental way for looping it. And also if you want to like break, is a keyword, so you can break the loop, okay, for loop. So once we let's say if the index like equals to 3, then we can break the loop, okay, or continuous, that means that it can skip it, okay, so it won't perform. So also remember when you're learning programming language, the difference between break and continuous. And because for break, we need terminate the loop, okay. But for continuous, like I just skip this one, and I will keep continuous, like go through like the rest of it, okay. And also we have the if else condition. So just like giving a syntax if, and then have a condition and have a curly bracket and then else, okay. And also we have like switch, okay. You can switch past it and we have curly bracket and given a case. And of course, sometimes that depends on how we use it. We will put a break, or if we have, let's say if sometimes we want to match the letter, okay, but it will be same for uppercase and lowercase, then we are not putting, let's say, for lowercase m, and then maybe uppercase m, then I put a break. That means that for this switch can match the lowercase and uppercase. So how it looks like, I can keep it. And then we have another one. And when we move on, so we have the comparison operator. So we have the loose equality. So it will be like two equal sign. Okay, it only compare the value, but it will ignore the data type. But for the strict equality, so we have three equal sign. So we compare the value and then the data type. So if you compare, like try to log it, 5 is equals to string 5, you say yes, true. But if you want to match it with a data type, then it will return false because they are not in same data type. So be careful with this one. And pretty useful, like for learning programming, no matter which language, learning regular expression is really important. Like help us, so we can pass the regular expression like in the pattern. So you can use the setting some matching patterns right here. So you can use that to slash and the bash. So this one like slash d is representing is like any number, so digits, and per sign is at least one or more than one. So we like this. So once you use the regular expression dot test and pass a string, so it match that is at least one or more digit, 1, 2, 3, yes, then it match, it return true. So here's the logic of it. And we have some different type of regression methods. So if you want to like test if they're matched, then we can use like test or like axis. So this one will return the array of match, okay, or replace. You will see a lot. So sometimes if you want to replace the original string, match the regular expression, then you can use the one. And one here is the giving a pattern of email. Okay, so beginning. So we have upper arrow right here, and then we try to match any character A to Z, lowercase, uppercase, any digits 0 to 9, okay, and then maybe dot and then underscore percentage like plus minus, all this will be the character will be acceptable, and then you see plus right here. That means at least one or more than one, and we have the @ sign, okay, and then we have similar pattern, but it doesn't accept some special character. So you see A to Z, uppercase, lowercase, digits, dot @ okay, and then at least one, and here will be the special character because you see right here the dot, okay, and the period or the slash. The differences is that this one we recognize as a string, so it must have the period right here, and then we have the remaining will be A to Z, okay, so uppercase, lowercase, so at least 2 or more than that. So you see he's giving a range, okay, and the ending will be like this. So it will match. So when we pass that for the late test at example.com, so it matches that the period is right here, okay, and then at least like 2 or more than it. So because you see sometimes like .co, you can like maybe let's say .us, and or sometimes you see like .match, .info, .com. So all these will be going like match, okay. Then we move on more in syntax. So in JS we have the scope, okay. So scope will determine where the variable function like access in the program. So you need to know like maybe in other language too, like we need to know what's a global and function. Okay, global will be declared outside of any function, and for function it only work inside. Okay, we have the box scope. So the variable like declare with using len or constant inside box. So they are limited only that block. Okay, so this one is like work on the ES6. Okay, so it coming there and hosting. So in JS, like it just like telling is like we can use the var. Okay, so just be careful, like right here. So let's say we create the var before we log it, then it so calling is undefined. So we have to initialize like before we use it. This is more important. So we have to move it to the time. Okay. And so far, like we will finish this part. So we go to the what's the array and then the loop into a, and then we have some like for the case condition conversion, and then last part will be the numerical expression. Right here, just like giving you more example. Okay, so if you are like didn't put it correctly, or like you putting decay outside, then you will see like using let a and then call the function, that is okay. But initially, but if you didn't put it correctly, then you have a reference like error. Okay, and they still accept the var. So this one is a function scope. So if you're using var right here, and if for the let is a block scope, and also const also is a block scope. So for now, that ESX we are using for the block like anyway here. So just be careful. So they are not like initialized, and then for the constant also they are not initialized. So they must assign during the declaration right here. Okay, but if for the var right here, so for the function scope, right, so they should be initialized as undefined. So you need to be careful and look at it. And also we have the strict mode, so we can enforce this stricter, okay, a set of rules in JS. So it can help us to catch some error earlier. Okay, if you see some source code like we declare like use strict in the beginning, so you will see we are using a strict mode. What's the benefits is that when we're using it, so we can prevent use some like undeclared variables, and also eliminate the silent error. Also, this allows them to duplicate property name or parameter. So you can declare. So if you see some source code like as the first line using use strict, that means that okay. So it will giving you okay x equals to 5, but we say x is not yet defined. Okay, maybe you can using let con if you're using cons and then assign value, also we have a getting the error. Okay, so here's the idea. And there's another keyword like use a lot, it's called this. Okay, so it's referring to the like when we call it, so it will refer to the object currently invoked in the function. Okay, so in the global scope, there's no strict mode, then it can refer to the global object. Okay, maybe something that window in the browser. So if you need to access the value or something like this window, then you can use this. Okay, and also like maybe something in the function, regular function. So when you're like referring to a function using this, that means we referring to this like this function. Okay, and maybe in a global scope no restrict, so it will refer to the we say to the window. So you need to be careful, like see like when are you going to use this, like which one it belongs to, is it function or global? Okay, and also give me same example like inside the object methods right here. So if we create a person right here, we have the name, and then creating a greet function. Okay, console log this name. So that means the name, we assign a name called Alice. Okay, so this name is referring this person. And what's the name? So you see that this dot name. Okay, so when you want the function, when the call this function person dot greet. Okay, so we call this function and then we can log the name. So it will execute correctly. Of course, like we can, if you learn the arrow function, so right here, so the arrow function that do not, just be careful, like they do not have their own this, but they can inherit this like from the surrounding scope. Okay, so if you want to like this name, okay, it's undefined because this is as I refer to a global scope, because like this is a function by arrow function, so we call it. So just like be careful if we're using it in class. Okay, in the class method, that we will refer to the class instance. So we have the class, declare class, and they have a constructor and pass the parameter and then giving this name. So it would be the this name, and we assign a value to parameter name. Okay, so that's it. So once we have a console log and log of this name, so we can able to call it. So right here we create constant p. So we have a new person, right? It's a class and pass the name. So we have the constructor receive parameter, so it can store the name. Okay, so once you're using grid, then we can. So you see, we don't have to create have a variable. So you can do it using the constructor to create a name. And what's the slightly difference in the ES6 or plus? Okay, we can have classes. Okay, we say so is syntactically like sugar over the JS. So it's an existing prototype based inheritance. So it can give us a clearer and more object-oriented approach using for the like blueprints for objects. So when we define the class, so give a class name, constructor, so you can pass the parameter, so you can use it. So when you're using this and create a variable, so they will store it, and you can log it. So if you know using for 1 line, and then we can pass the parameter this name and the age. Okay, so here's the idea. Then once we create the object and pass the parameter, we know, okay, this constructor. So you can create multiple constructor with like maybe you have no parameter, only one parameter. So what's the default value? So you can do it and create a function like this. And also we can inherit it. So you can use the keyword extends. Okay, just be careful. If we need to inherit from other classes, then we need to use the keyword extends. Okay, so if you extend it from the person, like let's say employee, so you can pass the parameter. We can use with the key another function called stripper. So if you're using extend, then you work with the stripper. That means I can reuse the constructor right here. Okay, name and age, but we will getting one more thing, like let's say the position. So I will declare this this position and equals the position. So here's the difference using extend and super for inheritance with the class. Okay. And when you print out the content, then you can print out the position too. Okay. And we can move forward. So the one you work with, like if you're busy on your project, you see like when the data like return from the API server. So it would be like JSON format. It's called a JavaScript object notation. It's a lightweight data. So interchange the format. So you can like easy for us, like especially human, like we say read and write. So it's easy for machine also like face and generate. We can use the facing JSON like from the string to object. So it's like how the JSON doing. So you can like let's say create a JSON string. So with a quotation. And then we have a curly bracket right here. So giving a name and then giving the value. So we have a key and value. So we can use that call it JSON.face, like face it to the JSON object when you log it in the format like this. No matter you receive the return value from the let's say your API server, or you need to post, let's say you have a form to store the user name and password, all this, you need post it to a server, you can use the JSON face too. Okay, of course, there's some library and framework you can use directly. And we have the string define, okay, stringifying the object. So we can use the stringify the object. So if we have a person like this, okay, so when we pass it, also it can return it directly. So it can help you to quickly change the string to the JSON string, the object to the JSON string. Okay, directly. And also we have some like use case like when we need to like fetch the data from the API, as say when we receive it, so it's a JSON format, right? So you can return it. So when we fetch it, and then the response.json, so we can press JSON and then console log the data. So we can do it in this format. So you can try, because I believe that when you work on your project, then you will have some difficulty. Okay, so of course we are not only using Fresh, because in my previous lecture we have used another library, maybe very pretty useful. Okay, for us to get the return data like in the JSON format. And if you want to try, then you can try to like create functions, sort the array using for in of, okay, all these looping, also by the switch statement, or using the regular expression to match the pattern like this. Okay, and this so far will be like this. So we will finish this part. Thank you.